Deputy Lord Mayor, representing Lord Mayor of Adelaide.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Nina Mani. And the response to that is? Mani Ai. Thank you and welcome. I'd like to acknowledge first using Kaurna language that we're meeting on Kaurna land. Naklu Tambandi, Naklu Gane Atanga Tikandi. I'd like to acknowledge that we're meeting on the traditional land of the Kaurna people of the Adelaide Plains, and that we pay respect to elders past and present. We recognise and respect their cultural heritage, beliefs and relationship with the land, and we acknowledge they are of continuing importance to the Kaurna people living today. So, Adelaide. I don't know if you've seen recently, but we've launched our latest brand for the city of Adelaide, and the brand is Designed for Life. I mean, imagine that, putting emphasis as a city on life. That means we're putting emphasis first and foremost on people and the quality of life they live in. And I think this is the importance of the event tonight, where we've seen how Cocoon and the synergies between the company itself and what the city strives to be, and also our state. I think we always tend to compete with Sydney and Melbourne, but as a matter of fact, if we look at Adelaide, we need to understand our competitive edge and our competitive advantage. And the only way we're going to get to know that is to sometimes look towards our history instead of looking for the present and the future. Adelaide's always been a city for entrepreneurs. It's a city of innovation. It's a city of firsts. And just speaking to Mr. Khan earlier today, he was very nice to tell me that the Cocoon project will be one of the first. The 60 projects will be the first NDIS supported homes in South Australia. And this is another first for our city and state. Because what we do is value the quality of life of people. And as we all know, Adelaide itself is a city where migrants from all walks of life have come here for a better quality of life. And we value that as a city, surrounded by incredible parklands that really are timeless. And it adds value to the quality of life we have here. So for us, it's not about competing with the Eastern Seaboard. It's about finding our competitive edge. We are quick. We are savvy, we are innovative, we know exactly what our strength is, and bit by bit we are starting to succeed by not fearing failure. And this is one thing this state has struggled with. There's been a cancer, I believe, that has targeted our city and state for a long time, where we were not trying new things. We were too scared of failing, we were too scared of trying. And the matter of fact is now, we are seeing companies from everywhere coming into South Australia and really exploiting the great attributes of what we have in our city and state. So this is another example. And we are very proud to have you involved in our city. And the matter of fact that you've also actually partnered with Sarah Construction, creating local jobs and using incredible local companies and trade really goes to length to be able to showcase the power of what Adelaide can do and South Australia can do. So kudos to you. Thank you very much for considering Adelaide and South Australia to be another home of yours and to invest in our state. And we really appreciate working with you towards the future. And thank you very much for having me here today on behalf of the City of Adelaide. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the Deputy Mayor. I must say, listening to his speech reminded me of that kind of passion and ambition that I love to hear, particularly from local government, about that part of Australia that they take responsibility for. It's not just roads, rates and rubbish. It really is about passion, it is ambition, it is very much so about people. So I think that very much so, Zafra and I both come from Brisbane. We understand what we see in our own Lord Mayor in Brisbane. It's nice to feel at home here in the Adelaide environment. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I should say that that little piece of paper that is on your table is the key to being in the draw for a dozen lucky door prizes. Now there I was thinking you were going to take home a door. No, that's another dad joke. You in fact get, there's two people who will take home an iPad each. There is also shopping vouchers from Coles. So if you're a Woolworths fan, they'd like you to go to Coles because it's $100. But in anybody's language, that's a pretty good prize. So there's about 10 of those. So make sure you fill it in and get your name in for that draw. Absolutely critical that you take the time, and if you haven't got a pen, ask the wait staff politely if they lend you one. Maybe the convention centre has a few floating around, but I think it's crazy if you don't. I can't fill one in. I don't think these apher-sized shan't, but that increases your odds. So you've got to be in it, as they say, to win it. Ladies and gentlemen, just to outline a lot of the detail associated with what is happening with the Cocoon home features, and also, what Cocoon actually does. The South Australia Project Manager, Hira Khan, I'm going to ask Hira back now to say a few words to offer some further presentation.
So ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to explain the features of the Cocoon SDA houses and what makes them unique and extraordinary. Now, after months of extensive research, the Cocoon SDA houses have been specifically designed to ensure that individuals have a greater choice in where they live, who they live with, and the type of house they want to live in. Now, currently, many SDA participants have no choice but to live in accommodation that is poorly aligned to their preference. Our findings suggested that we have to build these houses keeping in mind 4 major areas of concern. Number 1, location, accessibility and mobility, privacy, and the security of the residents. Now, according to the research, many of the existing SDA participants prefer to change their current living arrangements. They wanted greater independence and privacy while maintaining proximity to family and friends. Now, Cocoon has made a conscious effort to build houses throughout Adelaide region so the potential residents can choose from a variety of locations and not having to move far away from their family and friends. As per our research, for most of the participants, accessibility and mobility within their dwelling was another area that needed attention. Keeping this in mind, step-free pathway have been houses have provided a continuous level step-free pathway from the car park to the main entrance, providing an easy access to the wheelchairs with no stairs or ramps. Wider internal and external fully automated doors have been installed throughout these houses to facilitate comfortable, uninterrupted movement between wheelchair spaces. The toilets are fully accessible and the bathroom showers are waterproof with grab rails all over. Automated window blinds have been installed throughout the house and windowsills are installed at height that makes them easy accessible. Floor coverings are slip resistant to reduce the likelihood of slips, trips and falls in the house to ensure safe mobility of the wheelchair. Each room has a ceiling hoist provision, including a mobile ceiling hoist for the mobility of the residents who require very high physical support. Sensor lights have been installed in these houses to facilitate residents by providing stronger illumination when required for those with impaired vision, at the same time being cost-effective and reducing bills. The fully equipped kitchen is designed to support ease of movement between benches and to support easy adaptation. Now, according to our research, many participants expressed dissatisfaction with the level of privacy in their houses, in their current accommodation, and the key concern was that they would either want a bathroom closer to their room or a separate one. Now, keeping that in mind, these houses have large, wide bedrooms with an attached bath. And all the other features, additional features include hydraulic beds, built-in robes, telephone outlets, intercom units, additional electric outlets, and many other features. The living rooms. Now, these houses have spacious living areas for comfortable and accessible to all residents and visitors to accommodate a range of activities and tasks. Now, safety of our residents was the topmost priority, keeping which in mind, we have provided an extra carer room with an attached bath that will further 24-hour assistance and support of the participants. Security cameras, smoke alarms, fire sprinklers, power backup, and intercom facility has been provided for increased communication and security. Spacious outdoor entertainment areas have been provided for a variety of recreational activities of the residents. Other features include fully equipped laundries, we have air conditioning with zone control, we have wider garages, and most importantly, these houses can be fully furnished if need be. Now, throughout this process, we have kept our focus firmly on the people who will call these houses home. The biggest reward is when people with disability or their loved ones have tears of joy when they can imagine what their future may look like in these houses. Now that we have many houses in the construction phase and another ready to go on site, I am waiting for the day when I can finally hand over the keys to the people and watch them begin a new phase of their lives. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the vision is there. The ambition is very plain. The promises are being made in a very public way. The endorsement of people involved in government is there. As you know, NDIS is a partnership between the Australian government and the various state governments. And it's important that this project, that this night is all about, is successful, because the promise of providing a dignified living environment that's tailor-made and suited for those who are living with disabilities are given the shelter that they need, the environment that they need and they frankly deserve. That is, as was remarked earlier, the Australian way. The people who are responsible for realising this are a group of companies who are based here in South Australia, and as the Deputy Mayor said before, tradespeople with all the various skills at work and on show, and so the pressure is kind of on them a bit, isn't it? But on their behalf, would you please make welcome now to speak to you Andrew Lindsay from the Longridge Group. He's the General Manager. They are the people who are realising this dream, building these homes. Please make Andrew very welcome.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks everyone for the opportunity to be here tonight and share with you a bit of insight into what this opportunity is for the Longridge Group and how we're approaching the part that we can play in it to help this great goal be realised. We are third generation residential builders in South Australia. We're a company of over 50 years experience in building homes in South Australia across a lot of different environments and a lot of different circumstances. We've cut our teeth in lifestyle driven housing in a lot of areas of challenge, be that by remote location or by design or in quantity, and we've proven to be quite good at doing that, and we're very excited to be part of this opportunity of delivering innovation in housing into the South Australian residential market. For many people, including us, specialist disability accommodation and the NDIS scheme is a very new environment for us to be working in, and although we understand a lot about building houses, understanding how to build houses of this technical complexity for this group of occupants has been something of a challenge for us to understand, along with the compliance needs and the documentation and approval processes for us to go through even before we start building them. So we found it to be quite a challenge, and notwithstanding all the experience that we've had in the market, we've had a lot of learning to do, and in working closely with the Cocoon Group and the local representatives of that enterprise, we've had to overcome a lot of challenges in technical understanding of the design of the buildings, and doing that in a way that controls our costs, that meets all of the compliance needs that come with these buildings, and whilst still delivering to the occupants homes which are going to be nice places to live in, and the sort of environment that we want to be providing to all of the people that live in homes built by the Longridge Group and that would be associated with the Cocoon Group in this enterprise. It's the demand for the housing is this type of housing is really evident, but the challenge in meeting the need of the opportunity has always been in the detail, and navigating our way through those guidelines in a way that we can deliver product confidently and consistently has been something that we've had to work really hard at, but we've done that work now. We're very confident in where we are with the product, our documentation, our suite of designs, our approach to compliance, and our understanding of the needs in physically building the product and delivering it have come a long way, and to the point where we're now well and truly under construction. The first of the homes being built, I think as of yesterday, has its roof on. We're on the home stretch in terms of finishing the home, and it's gone very smoothly and very quickly, and that's obviously a result of the work that's gone beforehand, before we start construction. So we've now got a number of homes currently being built. We've got about another 30 in the pipeline ready to run through to construction, and we're looking forward to delivering all of those, plus the rest of the 60 that are currently on the books in South Australia, and we understand and see the opportunity for many more to come beyond that. We're excited about that opportunity, very grateful for it, and feel though we have earned it, along with the Cocoon Group, in patience and collaboration and a careful and strategic approach to realising the product, which will be the ultimate outcome of this enterprise. So thank you very much for the opportunity to do that. We thank you for trusting us to deliver that. Contrary to some of the press, not all builders in South Australia are going broke. We're doing very well, and we'll plan to continue to do that for a long time yet, and you can be confident in the delivery model that we have developed together collaboratively with Cocoon. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Andrew, and congratulations on the work that you're doing to date. And you know, when you think about it, finding purpose-built homes in the variety of models that have been talked about, 3, 4, 5-bedroom accommodation, it not only provides the individual dignity for each of the people who move in, yes, there's all the jobs that are created, the economic activity, not only does all of that, but it also releases people from other places, dare I say, institutions of care, also homes that could perhaps become homes to other people who may not have those physical disabilities. So having purpose-built accommodation entering this marketplace makes a huge difference. The roll-on, the flow-on effect really is going to be felt across a large part of Adelaide and surrounds. I know tonight's been a little bit like Zafar Khan, This Is Your Life. And God willing, inshallah, he has many, many more years of contribution to make. But understand that the Cocoon Group is very much so about working with government and communities. And perhaps to emphasise that is someone who has worked with Zafar in Brisbane in service of the community through Rotary International. Zafar's been president of his local Rotary Club. Rotary is all about the community, as you know. It is all about putting fellow man and woman first. It's all about service ahead of self. It's about family. It's about building relationships and making things work really well in favour of others. But somebody who understands that even more is somebody who I know very well also, is the president of the Rotary Club of Hutcherfield. Please make welcome Mr. Lester Drew.
Good evening. Is everybody enjoying their meal? That's great. Has anyone ever wondered why it's taken so long for suitable specialist disability accommodation to become available in Adelaide? There are plenty of very passionate people in Adelaide that would like to see it all happen, but there's nobody with the ability to focus and get a job done as our friend Zafar Khan. I had the good fortune to meet Zafar when he was invited to join our Rotary Club. I lose track of time, 12 or 14 years ago. Since Zafar has been a member of our club, he's taken many directorships in vocational service, in youth protection, membership drive, and in the 13-14 year he was actually president of our club. And I might add, we decided that we needed to do a membership drive, and Zafar said, yes, I'll organise that, leave it to me. So we just had an intimate little evening out, our Rotary Club, and about 540 other people came to the dinner. So Zafar has had the ability to do it in style for quite a long time. Zafar is very happily married to a very patient lady called Zena, and he has 3 gorgeous daughters, one of whom he has married off very successfully. We still don't know whether we're ready to call him Grandad yet, but Zafar, we find it very hard to keep up with him through our club, because one moment we'll talk to him and he will be in Malaysia, then he'll be in Adelaide, then he'll be in Perth, but he always comes back on the weekend to be with his family. And so even though he travels a lot and he's a very focused person, he's very, very much a family man. I think that Zafar arrived in Australia and had to do it hard, like a lot of new arrivals that we see that do come to our country. But he believes so passionately in the opportunity that's been given to him that he enjoys, through our Rotary Club, helping other not refugees but immigrants that decide they want to take citizenship here in Australia. We've been doing it at our club, I think, for maybe 14 or 15 years, every Australia Day. For the last 7 or 8 years, Zafar has taken ownership of that particular day. And there is a lot of organisation. We end up with probably 200 people coming on Australia Day, and Zafar coordinates that whole thing. He has to deal with the department, and he's done such a good job of doing that there was once when Zafar was, I think, travelling back to Pakistan or somewhere, and he wasn't available to do the training, because to do the citizenship ceremony, whoever is transacting that has to go every year to the department. And they said, oh, it's Zafar, that's all right. So Zafar didn't have to go, though I think he did send one of his staff members just because he was committed and said, no, somebody should go. Now, he has done such a good job at that particular venue, and I've got to speak about it because the department, one day, they always send out a representative. Gary has been with us on many occasions back when he was with the government, and he's also been MC for us at that particular function. But one day a young girl arrived from the department and she looked a little bit lost. Instead of her telling us where to go, she said, oh look, I'm just learning and they've told me I should come out and find out how this is done properly with Mr. Zafar Khan. Now, I don't know whether there's a photograph. I did have a photograph. Last year, the lady in charge of, I just forget what her, Ms. Isabel Chin, representing the Department of Immigration and Citizenship, actually came out to one of our ceremonies so that she could present an award to our club, but in recognition of the good work that had been done by Zafar in the previous ceremonies, and I think that deserves a round of applause. Being in Rotary, as Gary said, I was actually a charter member of our club, and we just last Friday night had a changeover and celebrated our 35th year. We've had a very close bond with the Fred Hollows Foundation, and we have a very large fundraising function like this every year at the best seafood restaurant in Australia, Gambaro's, and you don't have to take my word for it. They've got all of the plaques up on the wall to say that not only have they got the best seafood restaurant on the other side of the road, they've got the Black Hide Steak Restaurant, which is also now regarded as the best in Australia. However, we've been going there for about 20 years, and frequently we raise funds for the Fred Hollows Foundation, and Zafar has become very friendly with Sue Larson, who is the Queensland fundraiser for the Fred Hollows Foundation. And whenever anything needs to be done, Zafar is always the first one in the club, and as other speakers have spoken about here, Zafar just doesn't believe things can't be done. It's a matter of he puts on his roller skates and we've got to try and keep up with him. So I think, even though Zafar is very busy in his business life, he's very busy with his Rotary life, We have lost him a little bit over the last year or two to people in South Australia. He has missed a few Rotary meetings. I have actually had meetings where he's flashed in and the next minute he's on his way to the airport and we know he's coming back to Adelaide again. But we do enjoy seeing him sometimes, even if it is only on a brief visit. Even though Zaffa's very busy with work, his girls, his 3 daughters, all went through a college in Brisbane, and would you believe Zaffa had to end up being the president or chairman of his P&C because he wanted to ensure that his daughters got the very best opportunity that they could going through that college. Our Rotary Club is very involved with that particular college, and we did a fundraising function with them maybe 4 months ago for the drought appeal, and we raised, I think, $25,000 on the night. So, and that Zaffa has had a lot to do with us becoming involved with the college, and we also appreciate the work that Zaffa does in that area. I've actually been talking with Zaffa. I'm in real estate and I've got an involvement in building, and Zaffa's been speaking with me with regard to what he's doing with Cocoon. So I've seen it develop because it's been a very challenging period of time because the government has been a little bit unsure about just what needs to be done. But what I have seen is Zaffa has used his persistence. He's decided to come to Adelaide and to South Australia because he's met people that have spoken to us earlier tonight. He said in Adelaide they want to get things done. He said they don't want to talk about it. He said they're prepared to back me. He said, so I'm going to take all my effort and we're going to do it in Adelaide. Thank you very much, Zaffa. So I would like a big round of applause for Zaffa for the excellent work that he's putting in.
Thank you. Lester's been around Brisbane so long they've named a suburb after him. It's called Druvale, and it's no joke. It actually is a really terrific part of town, so well done to Lester. Thank you very much for those kind words. It really is starting to turn into Zaffa Khan, this is your life, isn't it? But it's purely because I think that the ambition was for all of you to get to know what this is about and also who's about it. I think that really is what tonight is importantly trying to achieve. Amongst the many parts of Greater Adelaide that's involved in this project are a number of cities, a number of municipalities, and representatives of each of those, a number of those are here tonight. I'd like you firstly, and I should explain that I have a little bit of a visual impairment, and Zaffa's given me 0.8 font and I need 28 font, so I'm just working my way through it, so I don't mind if you have a giggle about that, I'm just confessing it. I run a television show on Sky on a Friday night, and I kept saying to Sky, I'm visually impaired, I can only look at the camera and I can't read anything that's on the screen from that distance with my eyesight at the moment, so I'll explain that to you. I'm not afraid to tell you that. Could you please make welcome His Worship Michael Coxon, who's the Mayor of the City of West Torrens, please.
Okay, good evening everyone. I'd first like to acknowledge that we're meeting on the traditional lands of the Kaurna people and pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. Thank you, Mick, for the welcome to country. It was very heartwarming, and we also acknowledge the spiritual relationship that the Kaurna people have with the land. Thank you. Good evening. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the Honourable Michelle Lensig, Minister for Human Services, Mr Zaffa Khan, Executive Chairman of the Cocoon Group, Mr Mohammed Rizwan, State Manager of MedVisit, and Hira Khan, Project Manager of the Cocoon Group here in South Australia. Pardon me. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Michael Coxon and I am the Mayor of the City of West Torrens, and it gives me great pleasure to be invited to address you this evening. The City of West Torrens has 60,000 residents located in the western suburbs between the city and the sea. However, as of 2016, almost 5.8% of our population, or just over 3,000 residents in West Torrens, are recorded as needing help in their day-to-day lives due to severe or profound disability. So it's wonderful to be here tonight to appreciate and celebrate an organisation that is making a huge impact in this space, namely the provision of specialised disability accommodation homes, and that organisation is the Cocoon Group. The Cocoon Group is currently in the process of building more than 62 modern state-of-the-art houses, specifically specifically designed for high physical support NDIS participants throughout the Adelaide region. These assistive technology-ready homes will make the lives of those in our community living with disabilities so much more comfortable and easier to manage. It's very pleasing to note that this project will cater for more than 300 NDIS participants while improving the lives of many others that are often forgotten, which are their family members, guardians and/or carers. Whilst it is important to note that more than 500 jobs will be generated through this project and that it will also contribute to the growth of the South Australian economy, I would prefer to focus on the benefits to our community that are living with disability. I also know with keen interest that some of the specialised disability accommodation homes are also planned to be built in Plympton and Fulham, in my favourite city, that is the city of West Torrens. I welcome this initiative and I know that it will have a profound effect on my residents. However, Cocoon cannot do it alone. We all have a part to play. Now I would like to talk about how local governments and/or councils can help, particularly in creating community. At West Torrens, we have an approved disability access and inclusion plan as we are committed to enhancing the lives of those within our community living with disability. The plan provides a systematic approach to identifying barriers to inclusion and provides local solutions. Our plan clearly articulates 6 key issues. These are: 1, accessibility of assets; 2, accessibility of services; 3, livable private realm; 4, community attitudes; 5, partnerships; and 6, active citizenships. To address these issues, we, that is our council, will assume one or more of the following roles. We can be a facilitator, in other words, to help groups of people or organisations understand their objectives and assist them to plan to achieve them. We can be a leader to guide the community by example. We can be an advocate to appeal on behalf of the community to service providers and other levels of government. We can be a partner to work in cooperation and share responsibility with other groups of people to achieve a common goal. And we can be a service provider to be directly responsible for funding and providing service. So what I'm really talking about here is it's one thing to provide the homes for those people living with disability, but once they're in those homes, they need to be connected to the rest of the community. They need to have access to services, they need to have access to transport, and it needs to fulfil their lives. So in a nutshell, local government and councils do play a critical role and are central to the success in the area of access and inclusion for those living with disability in our community, and we need to acknowledge this. However, tonight belongs to the Cocoon Group, and I applaud them for seizing the initiative of SDA housing and being a trailblazer in this critical service delivery sector, and I acknowledge their successful collaboration with all the 3 tiers of government, the NDIS and the local community. So may I conclude by saying, congratulations on a fabulous achievement, and thank you for your positive and most welcome contribution to improving the lives of those living with disability in the West Torrens community and Greater Adelaide. Thank you.
And what a terrific message. It is true, I was just listening to what he was saying, reflecting on some of the areas that I've seen in some areas of local government where bus stops, access to buses. Buses may well have ramps for people in wheelchairs to get on, but if the bus stops are not properly made, if they're not properly maintained, if it's the side of the road and 2-inch gravel, if there's no footpaths connecting it, and let me tell you, around parts of southeast Queensland, this amazing growth area everyone's talking about, they're going to have an Olympics there. Can they at least have a bus stop that works for everybody? Because I cannot believe that they're talking about an Olympics at a time when things like that aren't made. So, Mr. Mayor, you got me on one of my hobby horses now. Quick, back to business. Back to the Cocoon Group. We have a message from the State Shadow Minister for Multicultural Affairs, who can't be with us tonight, but she nevertheless wanted to be associated with this. This is a message from Catherine Hilliard. I believe it's on video.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Katrine Hilliard, and I have the absolute privilege of being the Shadow Minister for Multicultural Affairs. I'm so sorry that I can't join you today. My very best wishes to you for a wonderful day of discussion and connection together. Also, thank you very much to the Cocoon Group for all that you are investing in South Australia. Thank you for empowering people with disability to live a full and active life, to be able to equally and actively participate in every aspect of community life and in our economy in a comfortable home. Thank you. Enjoy your discussions today together.
Thank you very much, Catherine. See, it was really good. This is terrific. It's like running a television show. Just coming in and out. Good on you. Thank you for that. Those words of encouragement. Could you now please welcome the Mayor of the City of Playford, His Worship Glenn Doherty, to also say a few words of welcome. Mr Mayor, very welcome to the stage. Thank you.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me firstly acknowledge that we meet on the traditional lands of the Kaurna people, and I pay my respect to their culture, past and present, and to elders that are here and also emerging. To the Honourable Gary Hargrave, to Mr Khan, to the Cocoon Organisational Board, to all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. The City of Playford is 28 kilometres north from where we are today. We are nestled between the sea and the foothills of Adelaide, and home to 94,000 residents, and one of the fastest growing communities in South Australia, in the top 15 growing communities across the country. And each and every day, as new residents move in with our existing community, we have those that need to access and use the services of NDIS. But most importantly, we want all residents in our local community to live in a place they feel safe, happy, connected and not hidden away. And what we see with the Cocoon Group is the opportunity for people to live in their local community, to live in affordable, safe, quality, purpose-built housing, and most importantly, they can do that with carers, supporters, guardians or others. And they can do that and engage in services in and around their local community where they've grown up, where they call home. And that's extremely important for us in the City of Playford, to make sure that those that have a disability have the ability to live life to the fullest in their local community. So at the moment we have, I think it's 12 houses that are either planned or under construction in my community. And we welcome that investment, but most importantly, we welcome the opportunity for people in my community to stay in the community, to have access to these affordable and wonderful homes to reach their full potential. So we'd like to thank the Cocoon Group and all of their supporters and builders in what they are achieving. And as one of the fastest growing communities, I think we'll have a long-term relationship with you. And I know that local governments across South Australia need to continue to work with NDIS providers to continue to make their communities accessible, to get out of the way and just get the job done, so our communities can be successful wherever they may be. So on behalf of the City of Playford, we look forward, Mr Khan, to welcoming you and your group in our community. And at any time you feel welcome, come and visit us. We've got 2 wonderful Rotary clubs and they're always happy to have you drop in. And I've got a couple of my councillors that are here tonight who are Rotarians who'd be happy to see you at any time. But on behalf of the City of Playford, we thank you for making this valuable investment so people in our community can live life to the fullest. Thank you.
That's it. There's a few make-up meetings happening, Zaffa, for you. That's what will happen. You've now been completely sprung by Lester. A right of reply, though, from Adelaide, the Rotary Club of Adelaide. The President is Adriano Sistonino, and I ask him to come and say a few words as more meals are being served, and then we'll take a quick break after that. Mr. President.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, good evening. First of all, thank you, Zafar and Cocoon, for your kind hospitality. It's really exciting to see Cocoon unveil their plan here in South Australia, and we wish you the absolute best. I'd like to say that I'm particularly excited about the possibility to welcome Cocoon as a corporate partner and member of the Rotary Club of Adelaide, and in so doing provide them with an opportunity to engage and support our local, international and youth community service projects. Zafar, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Adelaide, I would like to extend you my personal invitation to come and join us at any of our Wednesday lunches at Adelaide Oval, and with the hope that we can provide you that home environment and welcoming environment that you deserve. Thank you for traveling. Good night.
Thank you very much. Don't forget to fill in these forms so that you go in the lucky draw for some terrific prizes, gift vouchers through Coles and some iPads. We'll take a little break so you can talk amongst yourself for 5 minutes or so, and then we'll come back and move on to the next part of the program. Thank you.
I've been asked where these slips should be placed. I'm going to ask Zafar the same question. And they will be collected. So as you filled those clips in, I'd put them all on a pile in the middle of your table. And because we're all grown-ups, ask somebody on your table to make sure they're collected. And if yours are not collected, then blame that person. That gets me completely off the hook. I think that's the way. So you should all know each other really well. You've traded business cards. You've all filled in your slip of paper for the lucky door prize, and that will be drawn presently. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now I'm going to ask the project manager, Hira Khan, to come back because there are some certificates of appreciations that have to be handed out. We're going to also have a brief panel discussion. So, Hira, are you coming up? Okay, rightio. We're just this is the ad-lib part of the evening. It was a finely oiled machine until right now. That's okay. And decisions are being made. This should be good. You want to do another welcome to country? Has everybody got their slips filled in? Has everybody allocated somebody on the table? That's terrific. Okay. Where's Aman? Okay. Aman. Okay. Okay. I think. Just go back to talking amongst yourselves for just a moment as I double check the arrangements that had a little dynamic about them. Just a moment, please. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've regrouped. It's good. We've got the tactics. We know how to get the ball up somewhere near our end of the field, and we're going to score a goal right now. That's what our plan is. We are going to present some certificates. We're going to have a panel discussion. This much I can absolutely assure you, where we can actually have some small interviews just to go through a little bit of what we've already gone through. If you've attended university, it's a lot like university where you're told what you have to know, and then you're told why you have to know it, then you're told what you have to know, and you just by the process of constantly hearing information, you will get the information you need. Now, can I ask please to come to the stage to help me, Councillor Aman Abraham Zadar from Adelaide City Council. He's going to help me present some certificates because that's something that people in elected official roles have to do. And they're very good at it, and so we had one here, and so thank you very much, Councillor, for being here. Now, okay, the first certificate that we are presenting to is to Julie Duran from the Longridge Group. Julie, could you please come forward? We'd like to make a presentation to you. Could I also ask Shazia Chowdhury on behalf of Nazir Hussain to also come forward, a certificate for extraordinary contribution and help in the creation of today's event, please. Excellent. Thank you very much, Councillor. Please stay on stage, Aman, because I think you're going to be part of this panel discussion, which Christian is going to do. And where is... Where is he? Come on up and please help put this panel interview together. Apart from Aman, we also have Andrew Lindsay, Robert from the Longridge Group, Robert Godden from the Pearson Allied Health, the councillor, as I said, who's a Young Australian of the Year finalist, an Order of Australia winner, a councillor of the City of Adelaide. Isn't that fantastic? What an amazing achievement and contribution he's made to our city and our nation. Also Michelle Ryan and Zafar Khan. So we're going to bring all of these good people up onto the stage now, and we're going to have a little panel interview, which should be very exciting. Please make them all welcome as they come forward, and I'll hand you now over to Christian.
Thank you, Gary. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is an absolute privilege and honour to be here and on behalf of Zafar to lead this panel. It's nice that we actually, for those of you who don't know Zafar, that's Zafar. You know, we've heard about him all night long, and Michelle, you're... So have you all had a good evening so far? Like I asked everybody at the table, how was the chicken? How was the chicken? So it's a joke on our table, but that's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got a few questions in front of me, and thank you very much for joining us. It's a real privilege to have you here today. But the same question I just asked the audience, I'd like to ask the panel, and what are your thoughts about tonight? So you've all got mics, with the exception of Michelle, so maybe we should give that to her.
Maybe you can pinpoint 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe.
Zafar, we're going to start with you. Seeing you're our host, we're going to start with you. Come on, you know what we're like at this.
What's the question?
What are your thoughts about tonight so far?
I think you look very handsome.
You know, you've been trying to pick me up for a while, and I like it. What do you think, though? You've been an incredible host. What do you think tonight?
I think it's an exciting moment. It was a long and hard journey for 1-2 years hard work. It was difficult even to get the drawings approved. We got the drawings changed more than a dozen times. And there was no right answer we could get from any part, from anywhere. We had to struggle hard with our Longridge group. Thank you to our builders, and you know, they are in South Australia for last 3 generations, and it was very difficult part to find the actual requirements of NDIS requirements. But now we've done it. We'll be the leader, people will follow us.
Thank you for that, Zafar. And Andrew, your thoughts on tonight?
Similar experience, I guess. We shared that experience from the opposite side as Zafar and Cocoon Group. It's been a quite challenging journey for us, but we are there, and tonight is a celebration of the turning of the soil and the realisation of some built form product, which is what we've been working towards and looking forward to. So sense of relief, achievement and anticipation, I think, and nice to be able to share it with so many people.
As the builders, I'm sure that excitement will hit its peak when you deliver, and I think that'd be really exciting for those residents moving into those first homes in particular.
Yeah, indeed. For us, it's about finishing the product. Our job is to get things built. We're much better. We much prefer to do the building than the administration part of it. But you know, one follows the other. So we're really looking forward to the point where we are handing keys over to people for the product to be enjoyed and the vision to be realised, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the next big party and celebration, the delivery of that first home. Robert, your thoughts on tonight, just quickly?
It's been really great to learn about the future and to learn about Cocoon, but I'd also like to reflect on the past. And I remember about 10 years ago when Rick Carter started Innovation in the City with basically 4 people meeting in a snack bar in Gawler Place. And now we end up at events like this. So while I'm very much looking forward to learning tonight, I can't help but think what a great journey it's been just to get here for those of us that have been along for that ride.
And Aman, I'm so glad I don't have to try and pronounce your surname, but I can use the OAM at the end. And congratulations for all the wonderful work you've done in the community and for being the Young Australian of the Year as well, and all the work you do against women in violence. For you, what are your thoughts on tonight?
It's definitely an exciting night, but I guess I look at tonight and I see many different people from different sectors come together, and I think when you've got, well, we heard from a number of elected members, so we've got local government presence here, we've got a number of people from state government agencies here, we've got quite a few people from the corporate sector, and also a lot of people from the community sector. And what I see here, and I think Rick highlighted this perfectly, is collaboration. And when you do collaborate across government, across community and corporate sectors, you leave very little gaps. And when you've got less gaps, less people fall through. So I see tonight as a very exciting start to what will be a huge success. And as Zafar said, you know, it's well, you guys are now leaders. You're here to pave the way, and who knows where it could go. So I'm very excited for tonight.
And Michelle, it wasn't intentional leaving you last. You didn't want that mic, but I guess for someone who has a disability, what's your thoughts on an evening like tonight? And some of the other questions, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you answer. But firstly, what are your thoughts on tonight?
I just think it's really exciting and really important that so many people are working very hard to actually provide opportunities for a person with disability to live with dignity and respect. And I think the more people who actually work in that area to actually bring that to fruition is a fantastic thing. So I find it very exciting that people are working that hard, as hard as you are. And so, yeah, no, I think it's great.
Fantastic. And so I'm going to start with you on this next one in particular. What does specialist disability housing mean for you, for South Australia, and for anyone who has accessibility issues and high needs?
Yeah, I mean, I just should actually say I'm not from any of the housing. I'm actually from the arts, and you'll see something from our company soon. But, you know, for someone such as myself who the future is quite unknown, I have multiple sclerosis, MS. So knowing that there will be, hopefully in the future, a place where, you know, should I need it, that I would be able to live that is accessible. And often people forget like the smallest little thing and say that areas are accessible, and you say, oh, well, that's great, and you get there and there's a step, you know, oh, it's only a small step. You go, yeah, but it's a step. So, you know, to have the level of detail and the commitment and the knowledge that people are working for the very best of other people, I think is really encouraging.
Yeah, fantastic, and I absolutely agree with you. Aman, what do you think about that? So in terms of, I just caught you out, you were staring at the crowd. It's a long day, right? But what does specialist disability housing mean for you in the context of, you know, you've got a background in housing and other bits and pieces, but what does it mean, I think, to South Australia, being a councillor of the Adelaide City Council?
To South Australia, I think what I would do is, you know, let's look at it statewide. I think in the past 9 months we've had something like 9 builders go under. So we're not going through the best phase at the moment. Earlier today we had the employment figures released, which showed, I guess, you know, we're sort of plateauing, so we're steady. But this really means that we can get some work done. It's going to stimulate the economy, and hopefully we can see a lot more of these projects up and running.
Fantastic. And the next question is for you, Andrew, and it's a slightly different question. Obviously, being the builder that's been involved from day one with the project with Zafar, how important is it to have separate accessible housing available? And I guess what are the challenges that you experience? I think we'd all like to know. I mean, you mentioned some of them, but I guess those two questions.
So, to answer your second question first, I guess the challenges are about accommodating the need. Well, firstly, understanding and appreciating the needs and all of the challenges around delivering SDA housing, and then being able to accommodate those in a model which is that works in a residential context, and that's what this whole NDIS housing initiative is about. It's about making accessibility more widespread by being more affordable, and that means we have to think a lot about costs, we have to think about location, we have to think about delivering a highly, I guess a much more sophisticated home and technically difficult product in a normal residential housing environment. There's a lot of there's pressures on it from a number of different directions, and so the challenges in balancing those things are quite high. So from the builder's perspective, that's a different challenge than or a combination of different challenges than we would normally face, I guess, or all in combination. So that's been something which has forced us as a business to grow our skills and to change our mindset and ultimately improve ourselves. And we have the opportunity to grow the business in doing this. So that's been a very good thing for us, but quite a journey. To the market itself, one of the things we're noticing is that the realm of disability or SDA housing in volume has traditionally been quite a high cost model. It comes from a commercial construction or commercial delivery scale, which is a very high cost scale to build and maintain in the housing market. We're seeing that transform through the NDIS and the approach of Cocoon and others into making that a much more affordable and therefore much more widespread model. So it's really exciting innovation for the housing industry in general, South Australia particularly for embracing it, but obviously it's got more national implication than just what we're doing here.
Okay, fabulous and great answer. Robert, the next question is actually for you. I know you're a man at innovation at your core, and I guess, do you believe innovation plays or has played a role in the NDI scheme, but also in accessible housing?
Oh God, yes. The thing is, when the wise men that gave us the NDIS decided that the answer to disability was to get the accountants and the actuaries onto it, they accidentally wrote innovation in, and they wrote two words into it: choice and control. And all of a sudden, people with a disability had choice and control. And if you look at every major disruption that we've seen over the last 20 years, you know, Uber is about taking control away from the taxi industry and giving it to the passenger. Airbnb is about taking accommodation away from the hotel chains and giving it to individual people and letting people book their own accommodation. And this is exactly what the NDIS now offers. It offers people choice and control. And when people have choice and when people have control, they will seek innovation. So innovation is written into the NDIS. And we've seen some failures of some large charities that have got into trouble by not understanding that it's not about we'll tell you what's good for you anymore. You know, we've had 100 years of looking after disabled people, so we're really smart. It's all about choice and choice and control will follow the innovation every single time.
Fantastic. Zafar, a question for you. I wasn't going to leave you there to say nothing, even though you're up next. But Zafar, what is the most important thing in this business for you?
Christian, I think this is a very, very important question for all the business people in the whole entire universe. There are millions of books about businesses have been published, but I would say three things only are the major pillar of any business. Three pillars. Number one, you need to have some cash flow to do the business. It's like blood in the body. Number two, systems in place. Systems in place means system does not depend on people. People can die through the system, business can continue. And when something is not going right, system will replace the solution and substitute. And the third thing is right people for the right job. I would say these three things are very important in the business. And when you got these ones, then miracle with 20 disappointments, which basically means you try to achieve something. If you can't achieve it, go for detour, substitute. If you can't achieve it, go for the second substitute. If you can't achieve it, go for the third substitute. And when each time you have a disappointment, have a disappointment dance rather than going to the pub. And keep doing it. 4, 5, 6, 7, keep counting it. Go up to 20. Either you will achieve it or you will see the exact clear destination. That's all about business.
You've written 40, 50 books
Not 50, only 40.
40, okay, right, okay, it's only 40. Have you written one on resilience? Because that's what that sounded like. And if not, we can co-author one together, and I'd be very happy to do that. But I think, and time is almost upon us. I actually want to be one of those people that's on time today, unless we want to keep going, because everyone that knows me knows I can run a show all day long. But a question for everyone to think about, and we are going to see a dance. Michelle and her ensemble are going to give us a performance shortly, and I don't want to spoil it. But there's just something that keeps resonating with me, something that I have felt today. There's a vibrancy, there's an energy. One of the things that Innovation in the City that we're really proud of is bringing innovation and entrepreneurship to the forefront. I think Hassam made a really valid point that South Australia is being held back, and held back particularly badly by people who are fearful of failure. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, the fear of failure is far greater than failure itself, when you're held back by fear. And I think one of the things that I admire about what Cocoon Group are doing is that all the things you just said, Zafar, you've stood up and you've said, I can't do it where I am now, I'm going to do it here. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to smash it. And, my son runs around, he's 4, and he talks about wrecking balls. And I think you've just walked into the state and you're about to deliver something that is very powerful for a group of people that desperately need this. And I've been interviewing some people in the corner, and we talk about dignity and respect. And these are things that all of us, no matter our abilities, that we're entitled to have. And I think living in Australia gives us that opportunity. So just one final comment, Aman, I'm going to start with you. What impact do you think Cocoon firstly could have on South Australia, and secondly, what do you think as a community we could do to help those in need? And I know that this is a pretty easy question for you to answer, so those two questions, and for the rest of the panel, I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Well, I'll answer the second question first if I can.
Please.
We as individual members of the community, we can all put our money where our mouths are, and if we believe in something, if we believe that something can be done or should be done, if we see a shortfall, if we see that there can be an improvement made somewhere, well, you can do it, regardless of who you are, regardless of your age or cultural and religious backgrounds, regardless of what restrictions you might have in place. If you think that something should be done, then go and do it. That's that. And I guess going back to your first question, I really see this as, let me put it this way. When we have certain scenarios like specialist disability accommodation or homelessness or social and public housing, I see this working in two different pillars. One is the actual asset, which is the property, and the other one is the service delivery, which are the people delivering the services. And here, what we're seeing with the Cocoon Group is filling that first pillar very, very well, providing the properties that are actually, appropriate, and it's something that will fill in that gap really well. And in doing that, we're stimulating the economy at the same time. So that's my 2 cents worth.
Fantastic. Robert?
Yeah, I'll work backwards on that too. As far as what I lead a team of 60 professionals that make a difference to people with a disability every single day. And it's the greatest privilege of my life. It's the greatest job I've ever had. So I don't have to imagine it. I see it every damn day. Right? And what this housing does is it just normalises. It doesn't offer anything special. It just offers what everyone else has. So just because I can have the house that I want, that's great. But if everyone in this room can have the house they want, everyone in this room can have a living space that suits their needs, that's not special, that's normal. And what this does is it normalises a situation for people who don't have access to the normality that the rest of us enjoy.
Andrew, final thoughts from you?
From the perspective of our industry, I guess if I can come at it from a slightly different tact, all of this work which is being generated is delivering real opportunity and real jobs, real money, and a real benefit to the South Australian economy at a time when housing's under a bit of pressure and has a bit of bad press, and so I think it's fabulous to be part of a good news story in the South Australian housing economy and community. in terms of what a difference SDA, Cocoon's influence in the SDA environment in South Australia is, and generally I think the innovation and energy and determination that Cocoon have brought to this opportunity has been super impressive. We weren't sure what to make of this whole opportunity when we first started talking to them, but we understand how serious this is, how much momentum there is with it, how much will and commitment there is with it, and they're creating a real opportunity for a lot of people, and I guess the turnout tonight's a demonstration of that, and we're pretty confident that there's a significant opportunity for a lot of people to be involved in the project, and obviously ultimately the project's all about improving the lives and the accessibility to improve lives for a lot of people, and that's a very rewarding, noble thing to be doing. I think we're very happy to be part of that.
Fantastic. And Zafar?
I would say something different. Cocoon focus is not to provide care. Cocoon focus is to provide SD accommodation. We like to embrace those organizations for last 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years experience they have with care. We like to invite them to bring the care, and we will bring the SD accommodation. It's a perfect marriage.
Fantastic. And Michelle, finally from you.
Well, from an arts point of view, which is very different to housing, but South Australia is actually considered one of the leading state in Australia, because we have 4 amazing arts companies that work with people with disability. And I see that this opportunity for accommodation through Cocoon is actually such an opportunity for South Australia to lead the way nationally and possibly internationally. So I see it as a really exciting time.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Michelle, Zafar, Andrew, Robert and Armand. Thank you very much for your attention, and we'll make our way down. Michelle. Gary?
Thanks very much, Christian, and indeed thanks to all of those who participated in the panel. I would like to ask our Executive Chairman, Zafar Khan, to move a vote of thanks. Zafar, your opportunity now to speak to all of those you've invited along. I think the excitement of tonight is very evident. The range of comments that have been made have been absolutely profound and superb. But as many of my Chinese friends have told me, that with success, in other words, with high praise, comes even more effort. So all of the praise has been heaped on this man. It now means everybody, including himself, are going to be absolutely committed to doing even more than they've already done. Please make welcome our host tonight, Zafar Khan.
First of all, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land where we meet today, and pay my respect to the elders past, present, and emerging. NDIC is one of the most important reforms in Australian history. I'm not going to speak long tonight, but I'm going to make only one point. It is thought politicians don't do the great job. Can I tell you one thing? In Australia, every single politician is agree with NDIS. They've done the wonderful job, no matter which party they belong to. Am I right? So today, I think I would say give lots of hands to Australian politicians to bring this wonderful scheme, NDIS, and which will make the lives of disabled people. Definitely, definitely. And it's not only the making the change of lives of disabled people, it will change their family life as well, their friends' life as well, their community life as well. I would say only one last thing, then I will say thank you and I will leave. I think all the states, they should compete with each other to attract investors to to invest in NDIS. Because one NDIS house, when you build, you need a builder. You need different professionals. You need electricians. You need plumbers. And after that, when you care about for 5 disabled people, you need carers, nurse. So the permanent jobs are created. There will be big vibration, and I would say there will be lots of stimulation in the economy through NDIS. And if I would say if any state is more paying attention towards NDIS, it can take the economy to the next level. And I have to acknowledge a few people. And first of all, our Deputy Lord Mayor, City of Adelaide, Hussain Abiad, Michael Coxon, Mayor, City of West Torrens, Glenn Docherty, Mayor, City of Playford, Dr. Heather Holmes Ross, Mayor, City of Mitcham, Bo Cowan, Councillor, City of Onkaparinga, Clint Marsh, Councillor, City of Playford, Elena de Graaf, Councillor, City of Onaparinga, Kylie Grenfell, Councillor, City of Salisbury, Lisa Brown, Councillor, City of Salisbury, Gay Smallwood Smith, Councillor, City of Playford, Jane Anuzain, Councillor, City of Playford, Andrew Craig, Councillor, City of Playford, Katrina Stroit, Councillor, City of Playford, Dennis Ryan, Councillor, City of Playford, Sandy Keane, Councillor T. Tree Gully. Next time maybe my pronunciations will be better, And Alex Hyde, Councillor, City of Adelaide, and Bernie Keane, Councillor T. Tree Gully. Christian from co-founder Innovation in the City, Rachit Khosla, Senior Manager Industrial Growth Platform in Singapore, Dr. Noman and Dr. Shumaila, Raj Dillon, President Rotary Club of Adelaide, Adriano, Director Health and Medical Industry, South Australia Government, Department of Trade, Tourism and Investment, Dirk Beelan. Huge thanks to Shadow Minister of Multicultural Affairs, Catherine Hilliard. We do appreciate, she welcomed us so warmly. Mr. Muhammad Rizwan, General Manager, MedVisit. By the way, in your city, we are doing home doctor service for many, many years by the name of MedVisit. Our wonderful South Australian Project Manager, Hira Khan. If Hira Khan was not here, or Mr. Rizwan was not there, it was not possible for all of us to be here. I would like, with full energy, give lots of hands to Hira and Rizwan, please. That was their lots of dedication, hard work, smart work, good followers. Always good followers become the leaders, I strongly believe. Roscoe Shelton, Manager Commercial Operations, South Australian Government, Department of Environment and Natural Resources. We have lots of overseas guests as well. Mr. Afzal, Dr. Saeed Ahmed Sahab, Joseph So, Daniel, Siu, May Siu, Gunadi, Henry, Stanley, Max, Latif Bhai, our Director, Zian Sari Sahab, Dean Karim, Faisal Hatia from Brisbane, Lester Drew, Mr. Zaidi, Rick Carter, Ringmaster, Innovation in the City of Adelaide. Can I tell you one thing? I got the permission to say this one from Rick Carter, which I'm going to say that. He has a cancer of his last stage, but he's working so hard for South Australia. I think he deserves acknowledgement of this. Nick Polans, Honorable Gary Hardgrave, Cocoon Advisory Board Chairman, You might see him always in the Sky Television. Today you have seen him in real life, everybody. And last but not the least, the most important persons in my life. My beautiful wife, Veena, my beautiful children, Aman, Salma, Freya. If it was not their support, I would have not done that much traveling. I would have not done where we are today. Thank you, Veena. Thank you, Veena. If you're listening, thank you, Veena. Thank you. And thank you, Adelaide. Thank you, Adelaide.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause, please, for Zafar Khan. Well, Michelle promised that she'd be back, and she's bringing others with her. We have a real treat now, and I'm happy for Adelaide to lay claim to the arts capital. That's fine. I'm happy to run with that. All we have is Mao's last dancer in Queensland, the Queensland Ballet principal being Lee Shin Swan, but he's now at AM as well, I think. But Lee is a terrific Australian. I was honoured some years ago to confer citizenship upon him over the 12 Apostles along the Great Ocean Road. We flew up in the Wurundjeri Dreaming emblazoned Qantas flight for a bit of a stunt to promote Australian citizenship when I was the Citizenship Minister about 15 years ago. As I explained to young people now, we had unicorns as pets back in those days. They all think I'm just old and grey, but anyway, they're probably right. But look, please make welcome Michelle and her dance tonight, which is the Restless Dance. Please make welcome back to the stage Michelle Ryan and her colleagues, please.
Would you say that you are fancy-free, open-minded, not fussy, a sentimental fool, or single but not really looking to mingle?
Open-minded. Oh, I like it. If you'd like to take a seat.
Now, we have a few moments to spare. Would anyone care to dance?
Should they be out together? Surely they can't book a room. I may have a drink. Someone watching them. Is they looking at me? People happily talk about anything. Happily talk about anything. Often sexual. We get very good at hearing things. We're not supposed to. I guess we just expect some kind of people. Don't expect some kind of people to talk about this kind of things. Is they looking? Should they be out together? Should she be out? I see the way you look at me. I can't book a room. I see the way you look at me. I wish they wouldn't look away. I feel really fancy. I wish they could see me now. Together. I might have a drink. Should she be out alone? It's so nice to dress up beautiful. You could do so much better. You could do so much better. You could do so much better. Is he looking at me? Is she looking at me? Should they be out together? I see the way you look at me. Should she be alone? I wish they could see me now. Surely I'm an amateur. I said why you look at me. What she supposed to. I guess you don't expect. So I say the why you look at me. I feel really stressed. You could do so much better. Maybe they think they'll hurt me. Is she looking at me? Should they be out together? Is she looking at me? Should she be out alone? Surely they can't. Isn't it nice that they're dressed up? He could do so much better. Maybe they didn't see me. I see the way you look at me. I see the way you look at me. Me? I see the way you look at me. Often sexual. We get very good at hearing. I feel like you could do so much better. I feel like it's easy to talk about those kind of things.
Hello everyone again. So thank you for allowing us to share Restless with you tonight. And I'd just like to thank Gianna Giorgio and Alexis Luke for a beautiful performance. I think you did a beautiful job, guys, so well done. And that work came out of the first video that you saw called Intimate Space. And Intimate Space was a work that was developed for the Adelaide Festival in 2017. So we are presenting work on main stages across Australia. We then took the work up to the Commonwealth Games Arts and Culture Festival on the Gold Coast. This year we were also in the Adelaide Festival with a piece called Zazani by world-renowned Meryl Tankard. We just took Gianna and two other dancers over to the UK for a development with two international companies, and we'll be possibly going to Seoul, to South Korea in beginning of October with Intimate Space as well. So as we said in the clip, we are launching it into the international stages as well. And that's because we are recognised as Australia's leaders in working with people with or without disability to create great art. And that's the main thing. We're not a disability company. We strive for perfection, and our guys are really delivering on this very, very strongly at the moment. So we have a major training program where the dancers are trained like any professional dancer, so they have to work from 10 till 4. So that, you know, we crack the whip pretty hard for them so that they can be the best that they are, and that's very exciting for the future of Restless.
Isn't she wonderful? Well, inspiring Australian, no doubt about it. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you very much to the performers as well. And I could feel actually when the music started that they took real joy and ownership, and it really did share and reverberate around the room. What a wonderful night it's been. A night where we've talked about dignity, we've talked about resilience, we've talked about determination. We talked a bit about Brisbane too, which is kind of nice because, you know, I'm from Brisbane and Zaffa's in Brisbane, although I think his heart is sort of, you know, heading towards South Australia now. It's not just the water that flows down, you have to build a highway, I think. That's what we'll call it. That'll be Zaffa's next project. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming towards the end of the evening and I've completely failed my own performance measure. We're running about 10 minutes behind, but I'm not going to let you go without having the draw of the 12 lucky door prizes that we have. Now I hope, because Zaffa's just handed me a note saying, invite these people up to draw the prizes, so I hope he's actually told them. So it's Faisal Hutt here, come on down, we need you up here please, you're going to help us draw. Were you warned? Because if you weren't, you just found out. Faisal is a community leader, as indeed is Zaffa and a number of other people in the room involved in the Brisbane community, and himself also somebody who's involved in growing communities and strengthening communities. So we're now going to go in for the draw. Come and stand here and we're going to get you to draw out some raffle prizes. You all right there? Yes. Okay. There's some lucky doors. And, okay, you would like me to invite yourself up, Zaffa? I'm going to invite Zaffa up as well. And also Hira. And also, Aman, you're going to come up as well because that is what you have to do. This is what you do. And never ever judge a baby contest or a dog or cat show. You never do those things because there's no joy in that for an elected official. Just avoid that. Just stay home when those invitations are extended. Okay, we've got a big bowl. It's over here. I'll go and get it. Oh. Been certified by officials from the South Australian Lottery and Gate. No, it's not. I'm just joking. And well, whatever we can do. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Hira's drawn one out. Do we have a name? Here we go. Thank you very much. And the name is it is Afshan Rani. There you go. Well done. Congratulations to you. Now you can go shopping at Coles or take home an iPad. What do you want to do? iPad. There you go. You can buy $100 worth of apples though instead at Coles. No, you're not taking 2 iPads. You'll only get one. Okay. Well done. Congratulations to you. Okay. Oh no. Well, she's getting an iPad. That's what. No. Wasn't it? Oh, I don't know what's going on then. We're just making it up as we go along. Sophia Alani is the next person that's been drawn. So you're not going to give them a choice, you're just going to give them okay, now I got it. Okay. There's $100 worth of apples. Okay, and Nick Limburus. And now we've got D. Grabham. David, is it? Okay, this is all coming fast and furiously. Raj Sounder. Rajendra Sandra from the Longridge Group. Okay, it's being done very fast and furiously here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, number 6, prize number 6 is Akash Nigam. Hang on. I've just been handed 2. I don't know what this now means. I love it. This is good. This is how we do it in Brisbane. Okay. David Martino. And I've got Michael Pereira. And now we've got Jill Shelton. How are we up to? How many are we going? Are we down to the iPad stage now of the evening? No, not yet. Oh, not yet. Heavens, there's so many. How many? There's so many.
That should cover it.
Okay, Faria Safdar. She's the present founder of the Adelaide Pakistani Women's Association. There you go. That's all good. Some little details on there. It's quite interesting. Okay, and we have heavens above, Sumian Dillon. I got that right? Simeon. There's a hook on the I. Hello, Simeon. She works in a medical practice. Maybe the doctor wrote it for her, but no, that's good. That's good. I can read it now. Simeon. I'm not going to get any medical assistance in Adelaide now. I'm completely banned. I can feel it coming. Okay, where are we up to? Congratulations. Now, thank you. Are we on the iPads now, are we? No? Yes, we are. Have we got one last winner, have we? Something like a bit of fun to make sure everyone's still awake. Here we go. One last prize. Last one. Have you drawn one? You need to draw one. Hang on. They have. They've just drawn. Here we go. Okay, it's somebody called Ian Woods from the Longridge group as well. Well done, Ian. Heavens above. Well, that was all good fun. Thank everybody for being on stage, and thank you for the officials who witnessed that entire drawing process as well. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're just about at the end of the evening. Hira, you seem to be the person that now has to move a vote of thanks. I'm not sure. So you're ready to do that? Excellent. All right. Thank you. Thank you indeed.
I'm highly privileged to work with an extremely motivated team that is truly focused on bringing about a positive change in the life of people. But this project could not have been possible without the help of some amazing people who have extended their gracious support in helping us achieve our targets. First of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our Executive Chairman, Mr. Zafar Khan, for believing in my team and I and giving us this opportunity to bring about a change in the lives of people. You're not just an amazing, successful businessman, but a wonderful, wonderful human being too. And your motivation and your positive attitude keeps us going all the time. Thank you so much. My team and I would also like to thank Mr. Rizwan Khattak, the State Manager of MedVisit South Australia, for his guidance, his support and his useful contacts. And surprisingly, he also happens to be my wonderful husband. Thank you so much. This project would have never gained momentum without the enthusiastic support of Mr. Raj Dillon, who has worked tirelessly to help us with all the process of the council approvals and everything, and he's extended immense support. Thank you so much, Mr. Raj Dillon. We would also like to thank Mr. Nasir Hussain, President of PAXA, and Ms. Shazia Chaudhry, Vice President PAXA, for extending their support and commitment in organising this event. Thank you so much. Our efforts gained momentum from the moment we partnered with the Longridge Group, and a group of extremely dedicated individuals who've really, really helped us in our project. Thank you so much for all your help. My special thanks for the wonderful dancers from Restless. You have performed beautifully on a very short notice, and Michelle Ryan, your amazing motivational speech is definitely praiseworthy. Thank you so much. I'm extremely grateful to our respected mayors, councillors and our wonderful guests for being here tonight. And last but not the least, my wonderful family and my beautiful 3-year-old son. He's the cutest thing in the world. Thank you so much, and he keeps me going. Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks very much, Hira. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the formal end of proceedings. Please hang around, talk to each other, enjoy each other's company, and for those who have travelled from overseas and further away, travel safely home. Can I just ask you to put your hands together for the wait staff, the catering crew here at the Adelaide Convention Center. I think they've done a wonderful job tonight. And we certainly do appreciate your encouragement and support. And I know that there is a lot of work to be done, and the promise of having a celebration of the realisation of all of the passion, all the ambition that we've heard about tonight in the months ahead is something I'm really looking forward to. Take good care of each other. Cheers.